Ladies and gentlemen, you are most probably jumping from the first video where I spoke about how the recruitment process is going to change post COVID-19 to this bonus video in which I will share with you what are the questions that you should prepare yourself for the cabin crew interview post COVID-19. And also, when I will share with you those questions, I will also share with you advices on how to answer those questions. And I will also share, because something I would like to always emphasize and say is why the recruiters will be asking you those questions. It is very important. It's the fundament of preparing every answer that you would like to present to the recruitment team, is to understand why they ask you this type of questions. The first question, which I believe they will certainly ask you, is what you have learned about yourself during the pandemic. Recruiters will definitely ask you to tell them about yourself during this interview, because they would want to get to know you, of course. But while they may still ask you this very basic question, they will alter it, or they will follow up with another question to actually find out what you have learned about yourself during the pandemic, because obviously we had a lot of time to discover things that we didn't know if we actually took the time to think and analyze. And please pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. Asking this question could be one way that the recruitment team can access your emotional intelligence. I have spoken so much about the emotional intelligence in between the first cabin crew consultants that mentioned the emotional intelligence. On my Instagram account, excrewnextcrew, I have dedicated 1 week of live sessions where I talked only about emotional intelligence and the importance of the same. Also, in the description below this video, there is a YouTube video on this subject that I have made it long ago. I have filmed it long ago, as I mentioned, and I think that that is, I responsibly state actually that that is the core component of the entire recruitment process. That's why comes the question to get to know you and to get to access your emotional intelligence comes between the first one. The question to tell the recruiters about yourself can help them to understand how you manage your emotions when faced with crisis. Here, the recruiters can learn a lot about your resilience, they can learn a lot about your motivation, they can learn a lot about your attitude by asking questions, how you have dealt with the quarantine time, what you were doing, etc., etc. Again, please have a look on my video about emotional intelligence, and also go to my Instagram account and you will see in the IGTV section, if I'm not mistaken, 5 videos which I dedicated 60 minutes in each video, 5 live sessions, only spoken about emotional intelligence. It's core component, it's crucial, it's very, very important. Another question that the recruiters might ask you during this post-COVID-19 cabin crew interview would be, how have you been spending your time? I think they would want to know how you have been spending your time during the pandemic, during lockdown perhaps. And I absolutely understand that our workloads have been reduced during the pandemic for various reasons. And don't worry, because the recruiters know that this situation is something that you might be facing, because they have faced it, the same situation like you. They were not recruiting people, however, but they were working on creating this kind of changes that you, I, and all of us who would like to apply for any job in the aviation industry will be facing post-COVID in your interview post-COVID-19. They would definitely want to know, what have you been doing to actually keep yourself busy? That is the core component when you will be preparing the answer for this question. If they do ask you this question, they are definitely looking for evidence on how you have been proactive and how you are actually dealing with the stress, to actually see if you can bring a value to the airline and you can be someone who can manage stress, because this is an important component and they're looking for this. And you and I, in our social media interactions, on my Instagram account, on my YouTube channel, we have talked about this, about managing the stress so much, and I'm very sure that in future we're also going to be talking about stress management a lot. Nevertheless, this type of question is a great opportunity for you as a candidate to mention if you have done any volunteer work, if you have been doing something that was helping you to sharpen your talents, your skills, if you have been taking any online classes, if you actually have learned something, you have enhanced your skills, if you have been taking coaching classes. This is very important, and I always suggest don't hesitate to enroll yourself in the coaching classes with Nitya Belani. However, feel free to mention that you have been following my work on my Instagram account, excrewnextcrew. Feel free to mention that you have been following my work on my YouTube channel, Julia George, over here, as a cabin crew consultant and as an aviation management master's student. I do believe that will be also bringing a value when you will be presenting yourself as a candidate that actually was doing something during the pandemic and during the lockdown. And most importantly over here is avoid presenting yourself as a candidate who has been doing nothing during the pandemic time. This is not this is something you should not be doing. Another question which I believe will come up after post COVID-19 job interview would be, what do you think about the online training programs? To elevate the potential of operational changes that are faced by the airlines during COVID-19, there has been a lot of talks out there, and in fact many airlines have incorporated the recurrent trainings or part of the recurrent trainings that have been done online by the current cabin crew. This I can relate, and I can share an example. When I was a cabin crew, we were asked to do a lot of e-learning courses, and yet the current cabin crew community also would agree with this, because they're doing a lot of e-learning courses which are mandatory, and those e-learning courses which are later on ending up with a small test, have been a statement confirmation that they have learned something, or they have confirmed that they are up to date with the procedures. And this type of e-learning processes can definitely take and be a substitute of a lot of recurrent training programs designed by the airlines, which are mandatory, regulated by higher institutions such as EASA, such as ICAO, etc., etc. And when the recruiters will be asking you this question, my suggestion is to highlight and to extend your full readiness, that you are absolutely ready to be engaged in courses and in e-learnings like this, because you believe that for you it's important to stay and to have that sustainability in your training, and that you're absolutely ready, and you're looking forward to any changes that will be happening when you will be a cabin crew for the airline you want to work for and you're applying for, because you're simply skillful, you're not afraid, and last but not the least, it is, as I have mentioned many times, it is something that you're absolutely looking forward. A positive attitude will be most likely looked at this, and you should not look stressed, and you should not look scared of the unknown. This is basically a component that the recruiters will be looking at. We have talked about the question a lot on my Instagram account and on my YouTube channel, but a possible question that also might pop up will be, do you have any questions for us? Now, aside from recruiters asking you about the pandemic, you also might want to touch up on the situation when your opportunity comes up to ask a question like this during the interview, and I seriously recommend you to do that because it also shows a complete awareness that you know what has been happening. And I suggest that you ask about the airline culture and the trainings during the pandemic to find out what your initial experience with the airline might look like. And please also don't forget, as on the previous question, you should actually display, when you will be asking this question, you should display a complete readiness in accordance to the same. Ask about the different trainings that they had, what type of trainings, did they had any adjustments, ask how the airline was keeping and coping up with the pandemic, and also it is important over here to mention how impressed you were by a success that the airline had during the pandemic, because I'm sure they had certain success for the airline that you're applying for, and please take the time to congratulate them. If you're, let's say, applying for the job role of a cabin crew for Qatar Airways, as previously mentioned in many of my interactions with you on my Instagram account, excrewnextcrew, Please also congratulate the recruitment team on getting a delivery of Airbus 350 during the pandemic time, and keep monitoring the airline's success, and don't limit yourself, please, because by the time you're going for the interview, many things will be happening. Ask what is the airline's future plans once the infection starts to wane and go away, and show readiness that you would like to be fully dedicated to all the changes that the airlines thinks to implement, by being part of their cabin crew team. That will be very much highly appreciated by the recruitment team. Something that I would like to close up this video with is to recommend to you to please don't forget whatever we have discussed, to actually practice it. Just like I have mentioned in my very first videos over here on my YouTube channel, it is very important to keep practicing everything that you will be performing in your video interview, in your entire interaction within yourself in front of the camera, and later on with the recruitment teams. In cases like this, it is important to practice speaking to people in front of a web camera. I would recommend, you most probably would ask me how you can do that, and I would recommend you doing a Zoom mock-up interviews with a coach. That will be a great help to make the entire process a bit more easier. As you know, I spoke so much. Niti Velani is a great choice for you, and please check for an availability to make an appointment with her, because she's amazing and I believe that she can do wonders, and she has been doing wonders with candidates. And if you have any uncertainties, don't hesitate to contact her. Now, preparing for those discussions, preparing the traditional cabin crew interview questions, I do have a playlist of videos where I have literally answered 200 and plus possible questions that the recruiters might ask you. Please do check on them alongside with suggested answers, and the link from that playlist is in the description below this video. And being confident over that video will actually go a long way towards showing the recruiters that you're actually resilient when you're facing difficult circumstances. You will show yourself as a trait to all the airlines, and every airline would be happy to have you as part of their cabin crew team, only if you show that you have what it takes to become a cabin crew. And what it takes to become a cabin crew, it's actually over here on my YouTube channel. Now, what we're all experiencing isn't over, and they will want to assure that you will be someone who can be part and can be a cultural fit and an essential person to hire, not just to sustain for their business, but you can also help the airline grow. And I have keep on talking about it a lot, and this is, I believe, important to say. This is the reason why I actually emphasize for you to be subscribed over here on my YouTube channel, and to follow me on my YouTube channel, and to follow me on my Instagram account, excrewnextcrew. And when I have mentioned the word cultural fit, I'm coming to the second important component on called, beside emotional intelligence, which is called cultural intelligence. And I have been speaking a lot about the cultural intelligence. You have a link of my YouTube video of cultural intelligence in the description below this video. A lot of links, but yet this is an important core component. You will gain a lot of knowledge on this subject if you have a look on that video. And also, again, on my Instagram account, excrewnextcrew, on the IGTV section, I have also dedicated another week where I have spoken a lot about the cultural intelligence as part of as a core component of your entire recruitment process. Basically, the entire interaction with the recruitment team is looking at whether you are able to work in a multinational team. Thank you for viewing this video, and please don't forget to share your comments and any uncertainties that you have. You're always more than welcome to contact me. Bye bye for now, and have a nice day.